Here we go. Let's get these alerts off so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, Trending Thursday. Always so much just perky things going on, weird things going on, alerts going off. But anyways, good evening, everyone. This is Carol, so AKA North Boss, live with you.
This does. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, trending Thursday at night. And I don't have anything to say.
Well, I have a lot to say, like I always do. But actually, before we get into all the alerts that I'm sure everyone was receiving today, it was a good day trending. What was trending today was pickleball, and we were at a tournament for a good chunk of the day. And it was pretty exciting to see a lot of the competitors from Pickle University, where we are members, and it was Johnny's first tournament, and they won gold in men's over 50 4.0 rating group. And it was really, really intense, very fast, because they do like a round robin first. So depending on how many teams, you get to play each team at least one time. So you have 6 matches or however many matches within that group. And then you go on to what they call the playoffs / semifinals. And then that really places the order of the top 4 teams. And then the top 4 teams at that point play best out of 3. And so, yeah, they won gold, and their first game in the finals, they actually pickled the team. And it was a very, very, so what does that mean? When you play pickleball and you pickle a team or pickle an opponent, it means that they didn't score anything. So the first game was 11-0, and they're a really good team. And I don't know what happened to that team on that particular game, but it's kind of like any given Sunday on some of these games. And then they went on to win the gold medal 11-2. So they, it was a long day of, physical boom, 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 and waiting and playing. And the only good thing was it was indoors. So it was great for the players. I froze my butt off because Floridian businesses, theaters, restaurants, they keep the temperature like frigid cold. I don't know how cold it was, but it was cold. I had to keep going outside to get thawed out and then go back in because I was taking pictures because we had so many members. So for our club, they won in these two different divisions, which today's division was, and it's going on all weekend long, but today's division was men's doubles over 50 and women's doubles over 50. And so our club got gold and bronze in the men's division and swept the women's division, gold, silver, and bronze. So it was a good day for our club. Good, activity, great movement, although I didn't get the movement like they were getting in. I was getting movement going up and down bleachers, but it is what it is when you're taking pictures of everybody. But it was a fun day. So that was trending in my world. And I know that there was a lot of stuff trending all over social media and alerts. I must have gotten 40 alerts.
Yes, I had many alerts, and I went on my power walk early this morning, and I was actually going to do a second one, for my second 45-minute workout. Right. And I'm like, no, I'm wanted to kickbox. I was kind of toying between the both, and I ended up doing my second, with kickboxing. And I have the timer on my cell phone. It's an actual, like you're in a boxing match, that type of, with the bell and all that. And I have it set, and, sometimes I'll glance over it, but, all this stuff was popping up that, I couldn't see one part of it. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So yes, it was a news filled type of day. And, there's a lot I could say about what's happening, but what I will say is these are unprecedented times, and for fear, well, no, I shouldn't say for fear, that's not what I want to say, but It's just very disturbing what's happening.
Well, it is. And again, it goes back to several things. When you just, people, it's been 72 hours since what occurred. And then to wait for this head of the alphabet agency to come out and say what he said, which, was basically a statement. And you know what I love? I love that people value people's time. Like if you have an appointment, get there a few minutes early, or, try to get there as much time as possible, or at least let the person know, hey, I'm running a little bit late, whatever it may be. But when you have something where, you're going through media and you say you're going to do a press conference at a certain time and you have to wait, over 30 minutes. And then you can understand that if they were, breaking news came in or they had to edit something or whatever, because that does happen. So you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when you come out and you're just reading a statement that actually, if they actually did it Monday night after the event in a written statement, that would have sufficed, because there was nothing, it was like a nothing burger for me. I didn't learn anything. I would have assumed that person was the person that signed off on allowing this to happen. So that was no breaking news for me. What I found interesting was the words that he used. And ironically, I was thinking about that and I kept playing it over and over and over again. And, the two things that came to mind is, how, his basically his statement was 4 minutes and 3 seconds long, because I timed it, give or take a few seconds here or there, 30 minutes late. And he said that it was not possible. First, he goes on to say that they do their best to be unintrusive. They kind of go out of their way to make sure things run smoothly. And they take special measures to make sure that happen. So when you come out and make the statement that it was impossible to do that, because basically, I'm paraphrasing what he said, that he leaves the door open to state that, that they weren't cooperative or somebody wasn't cooperative. But the statement from the opposing side really states that, they had a meeting on June 3rd. And what I thought was really ironic was they did follow up with them a few days later after that June 3rd personal, in-person meeting, to ask that particular household to padlock a room and lock it, secure it with the room that had these documents that's supposedly that they needed to get back. But then they don't hear from them. So you figure, say, even if that happened somewhere between, I don't know, June 5th and June 8th, they told them to, do that. So now you're talking almost 2 months later with no interaction from what the opposing side is saying, that there was no other, they thought everything was cooperative. They didn't have any other correspondence. And then to go into this mode, so the room that you wanted them to secure, that you told them, and you did get confirmation that it was secured, but then you go to break it down, kind of a thing. That didn't make it, that part I thought was very odd. And again, we don't know, I always say, even as frustrating as this process is, you got to let things play out. We're not in control of that, but it does make you kind of wonder, why did it transpire? Now, the big dilemma or the big narrative right now happens to be the warrant. And from all the legal experts, because I'd rather listen to a legal expert like judges, people that deal with that kind of stuff, they say that the warrant is basically a piece of paper with information that states, why they're there. And then there's another piece of paper that talks about the contents that was removed. Mm-hmm. But everyone is now talking about, so they're going to release that or give permission to release it or petition to release it. And I believe that the opposing side has until tomorrow at a certain time to agree with it. But ultimately, it's up to the judge to do that.
Mhm.
That's not real the nooks and crannies are. It's the affidavit piece to it. So you got one narrative pushing about the warrant. If the warrant is just a piece of paper and it says, you know, it was signed off, you know, probable cause, but it doesn't give you any details, big deal. I don't think anybody really wants to see the warrant. They want to understand the reasons behind it. Because what you're stating was there's too many correlations with what happened in January and the same actors are involved. So, you know, does the archive, you know, whatever they call the official archives of presidential propaganda, letters, birthday napkins and menus, you know, and letters in correspondence, I'm sure, to without warrant this kind of intrusion, and why couldn't it have been? So the head of the alphabet agency is saying they had no alternative. And again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the exact terminology that he stated it, but he's making it sound, and the interpretation is, by his own words, that like their hands were tied. This was the only way to do this. And I'm thinking,
It's called a subpoena deuces take 'em. That would have taken care of a lot
right.
of it. And the juice that everyone's talking about is the affidavit that supports the warrant, because the judge that signs off on it, the person that's bringing it forward, it has to be a sworn statement, which is an affidavit. That much I know. And the proof, or whatever everybody is, you know, wants to get their hand on, and rightfully so, is the affidavit. Now, I am no legal expert. I don't claim to be, but I've worked with a lot of warrants and subpoenas. I know how it works. The basics, I should say, and, you know, being a paralegal, a subpoena deuces take 'em. I'm like, why didn't they just, okay, they, whatever point that they got to, like, why didn't they just issue a subpoena deuces take 'em?
Right, and they did that with other actors. So, you know, and I think the hard pill to swallow for most people is, you know, when you look at the list of from the day this particular person came down the escalator to where we are today, and you look at all the brick walls, all the daggers, all the, you know, coming afters of this particular person because of his name and his family and whatnot. You know, and then the other key piece too is saying that the People's House knew no knowledge of it. And if that's the case, what a sad state of affairs, because they should know. They should know that they are the ultimate person in charge and should know all these things. So again, you go back to how could that be? And if so, that makes us even a sadder state of affairs that they did it. I find it hard to believe that. I think most Americans find it hard to believe in it, regardless of what side you're on the stress of the political sides, because it is a very stressful time for Americans, because they're feeling like their hands are tied. Like, what kind of country is going on in our world that things are not, you know, and again, it's unprecedented because it's never happened to someone in this position who was in the position that he was in, and maybe running again. You don't know. So yeah, my phone was, you know, alert, 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 and I didn't pay attention to them because obviously I was, you know, busy with some fun stuff. And it was a great distraction. And then as soon as we got home, I was getting like all the alerts because supposedly this press conference was taking place. I'm like, oh, I don't like to watch the news. I'm not one to really watch the news anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, this is unprecedented. This is like really history in the making. And I thought, okay, as an American, I want to know what this man has to say, what this head of the alphabet agency has to say. And I wasn't impressed. And I think for me personally, I could be prejudging him because I know what he's done to parents because that's a thing that I've been passionate about and been fighting for, parents' rights and kids getting a decent education without indoctrination. And he's a big instrument with that, along with teachers unions. They, I think, in my personal belief, they came together with some sort of wacky doodle plan. And then his son, or I believe it's his son-in-law, has got something to do with the educational piece to it and the publishing. I don't know, it goes on and on. There's just one rabbit hole to another. So my view of him already was not, I didn't have a good, very review of him. So that could be why I try to be open-minded, but I thought, well, I'm going to give this dude the ability to come out and say what he's going to say, and give him, an open book to see what he had to say. And I wasn't impressed. I really, for someone in the position that he's in, you kept Americans waiting, and for a statement that you could have just done in an actual written statement and done it Monday night and be done with it. So I wasn't highly impressed with his articulation of anything, his demeanor. I thought it was what I did. I'm not going to lie. I did crack up at one point when he talked about the integrity of the Alphabet Agency. Now, I agree that there are many good, because you can say, we say this all the time, there's bad apples in any profession. There's a lot of bad actors and bad apples in that profession, but they're not all that way. And when you have other people in that industry coming out and saying, this is not right. When you have former DOJ's, former attorney generals coming out and saying, like, this is not how you do things, especially with, a president that just exited out and that possibly is running, like, you just, to his personal home, you just don't do that. So I think, people can't understand. And the other piece he said was that he's, everything is fair. It should be fair. Everyone should be treated the same. How can you say that? I mean, how can he look Americans in the face and say that? Tell me one other person on the other parties, meaning independent, meaning Republicans, that you've done something like this to. Yeah, I can't, there's not one person. There's not one person from the political that should have been, but not one person has been treated this way. So you don't come off as, and you talked about integrity, you've lost all credibility when you make a statement like that, because it's not true. And it's so obvious that it's not true. At least own it. And how do you own it? He can't own it because he's playing a political, balancing act. And that's why he can't own it.
Well, he can't own it because, as much as he's trying to portray equal application under the law,
right?
All I will say in reference to that is, because I'm going to talk in code here, obviously everybody's going to know what I'm referring to, a laptop, over 30,000 emails, and the list goes on and on and on.
And bleach. That must have been a stinky computer, by the way. I'm not really sure what all that bleach bit stuff means, but I'm assuming it means pouring bleach all over the keyboard.
No, it's like a.
I have no idea. See,
yeah.
I'm thinking Clorox is getting a big, big.
No. Hammers and other things, and
bleach bit. I'm assuming they mean they actually take
a technical term. I've only, found out about it, within the last couple months. I was doing some research on it, but
interesting.
I didn't see any equal application, and kind of ironic, with everything going on, that somebody's on vacation and took the person with them that.
Oh, it's National Sons Day.
Yes.
What a wonderful son to celebrate.
Right.
He probably is. I mean, they're making good money. So, and supposedly there's a family fund that he constantly contributes to. So I guess, you want to celebrate that. I mean, to each his own. And, again, it's so comical. Sometimes it's very frustrating, of course. It adds stress to our health and wellness, which we don't want that to do. And that's why you have to limit yourself to this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It is out there, and you have to validate it because it is trending. You can't ignore it, but you kind of address it, maybe vent a little, and just put it aside because more and more stuff will come out, and then it'll go back to is the stuff credible? Is the evidence credible? Was there an ulterior motive to doing what was done? Who knows? And I always say, when you're talking about branches of what we're talking about, do we ever get the truth? No. So, it's one of those things like, who assassinated JFK? Will the American people ever know? No. I mean, everyone has their suspicions, but you'll never know. And maybe we're not supposed to know. I don't know, but we are in a funky, and then of course, you got elections that are coming up, and it all can't be coincidence. There's
Don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, not to this extent. Not to this extent. So it's a little crazy. The other thing that's trending is a lot of people have been talking about the troubles with their internet, and I'm one of them. I actually got someone coming out on Saturday, but a lot of people have been constantly complaining that either they've got dropped calls, they're not getting good internet service at their home, that their TVs are constantly either rebooting or going out because everything is now on Wi-Fi and digital and this and that. So I've heard a lot of all day. That was the other alerts I was getting.
Yeah, they're dialing it back. I heard somebody that I know very well said this is what tends to happen when certain things are on at a certain time.
Correct. So I did. Now, a lot of people have the ability, which I do too, if it works, but of course it didn't, where you can go on an app with whoever your carrier is, and they can do it remotely to test. So I did that, and now they're like, yeah, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem, and we can't fix it remotely, so we have to send a technician out. So we shall see what that is about, because the other piece to that is I upgraded months ago to the higher strength. And for me, it's worse than what I had, which doesn't make sense. Why would I be paying for a higher strength? And I say strength because I don't know what the technical terminology is. I get more bytes or whatever the heck I get. I don't exactly know what the terminology is, signal, whatever, but so they're coming out. But I thought, oh, why is it always happening? But then I realized it's happening to a lot of people. So a lot of people have been talking on different social media platforms like, this is getting ridiculous. I can't even, drop calls, and it's just nonstop. And I actually went to our cell phone carrier and the same thing. I said, what is going on? They go, yeah, we're having problems with the towers. Tower alert. So we got tower problems, we got signal problems. It's like we're all, what's the word I want to use? We're all misfiring with wires.
Yeah. So trending Thursday.
I got a recipe that's trending. It is, you take because who doesn't love pizza, right? And I want to get to make sure that I tell the ingredients right. So it's you can buy all different types of pizza crusts now. You can get cauliflower ones, all these different ones. So this one is made from chickpeas, and what I like about it is a little bit thicker. I mean, I do love thinner pizza anyways, but when you're using cauliflower or chickpeas, I like it a little bit thicker because it doesn't handle the same way, obviously, as dough does. And then, of course, the vegan mozzarella shreds, which tastes and melts just like regular mozzarella, which I thought was pretty cool. And then adding, obviously, you can get the meatless meat, which is, vegans use that and sprinkle that on there. And it looks just like hamburger and kind of taste it. And then add a bunch of different veggies, and ooh la la, And one of the key things that I like to do is, and it reminds me of a pizza, and it's no longer in existence, but it was from Meriden, Connecticut. It was called Vernolini's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And they had the best dough. I mean, the best pie. It was just, oh, so yummy. But what they did is they put they rolled out hand tossed the dough. They put the ingredients down first and then the sauce. And no, they put the ingredients, the cheese, and then the sauce. And then it went in the brick oven so that the sauce would eventually seep in, but it was just a different way to do the pizza. And I did that with this, and it came out really.
That sounds real good.
So it was, what pizza to me is like pie. I could probably eat a half of one if I really thought about it, depending how big it was. But obviously it's a staple. So I thought, okay, got to find healthier ways because I'm obviously trying to stay away from white flour and even some wheat flour. And I thought, ooh. So a lot of people are actually I noticed that also, a lot of people are doing healthier versions that is not taboo of good old great recipes. And I think that's awesome that people are being innovative with their cooking and their baking and saying, you know what, I love this recipe. I'm going to find another way to make it that is going to be healthier, maybe has less fats, less sugars, less sodium, because we know, as we talked the other day, that the two significant things that support bad bacteria in your gut are sugar and dairy.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I bought some, obviously this time of year, I love ice cream, and I, gave all that up, but I was like still wanting something like that. So I found a vegan ice cream.
You did? What's the brand? You got to tell me.
I think it's called So or something. I'll have to look at it.
I'll look at it.
It was a mint, comes in the pints, and it was a mint chocolate chip, and then I got the double chocolate chip thing, and I was like, oh,
in heaven.
I just, have like a little, like maybe it's a half a cup.
Yeah, especially on a hot summer day. It's refreshing, it's cool. That's a cool treat. I'll have to look in our freezer here and the different grocery stores that we have, and maybe I'll find that. But yeah. I love being able to still enjoy good food with a healthier twist to it. And healthy sometimes just gets such a bad rap. Like a lot of people think healthy means it's not going to taste good. Let me tell you, healthy tastes good. It really does.
Well, way back when, it was, when you think of healthy, you think of iceberg lettuce. Like that doesn't sound too appetizing.
But even when you think about the iceberg lettuce really has no nutritional value. Now,
no, very water soluble, but
right, yes, if you're doing a spinach or a kale, then you're at least getting some protein.
Well, yeah. Or my absolute favorite is arugula.
Yes.
With chopped up Granny Smith apple.
Yeah, you make a good arugula. I always have a hard time saying that. Arugula. Salad. I had a great salad last night. Our neighbors made, did the wedge salad, and I hadn't had that in forever. So that was my little extra treat last night because it had bacon in it. I've got to watch my sodium. But it was yummy, just yummy. So that's what I think people should start thinking about. It's their favorite summertime treat, or any treat, and say, how can I pick this recipe apart and, start off slow if you want. Mm-hmm. There's so many great ways to still have your taste buds burst with flavor and your belly feel real yummy, but knowing that you've actually fed your gut something good that's going to support good bacteria and push back on the bad bacteria.
And that's true. And on this Trending Thursday at night, Trending Thursday, what's today? August 11th. Oh, my Ryan's birthday is next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Make sure I mail out his card tomorrow. Trending Thursday at night, we are getting very close to that 500 mark. I think this would be 496, I think. I'll double check that. We're going to have our 500th episode party, actually celebrate it probably sometime in September, because we're both traveling.
Well, we might get there by next week.
Well, oh yeah, we'll get there by next week and we'll have our little party thing, but we wanted to you know, do like we did for our 250th, and I think we did it for the 350th, where we had like a round table discussion.
Some of our great guests that, you know, really just had so much goodness and added so much value to all aspects of health, wellness, mindset, fitness, all of that together.
Yeah, because you know, we all know wellness is a big umbrella. There's a lot of stuff underneath it. Don't let it rain on your parade. And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I'm with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss. Getting excited, gonna go spend a little time with the gold medalist. And we wish that you have a great Thursday evening, but it is Trending Thursday. I know there's a lot of alerts going on. I know there's a lot of chatter about this and that, what's going on in the world, but you know what? Why not you be the trend center of something that's not actually trend setting and flip it around? I kind of like that. We will see you tomorrow for Fantabulous Friday. Have a good night, everyone.
bye everyone.